Yeah, talk about the menu screen.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
So uh, the inspiration for the main screen is like I took some of the assets from our game, like the main hero character, and like placed it in the like in the screen, and as well as the background assets. Just like I took like the wall assets and placed it in the background, and did everything in Procreate.
So did you do like a paint over of a screenshot, or did you just use
I
it as
just
reference?
screenshot.
Yeah,
Use that.
Oh, wow.
that's
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
that's awesome. No, it looks great.
I did not know that. I thought this was like art from scratch. That's awesome that it's a screenshot that you like made into a painting, basically. All right, we're good to start the game.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Let's do it. On to Rui's level.
Yeah, it's my part right now. So the first level is just for like tutorial use. The players can raise the tooltips like on the ground to learn how to operate, like for the WASD to move and use the left mouse button to like attack and charge and call back the arrow. And uh, the players can also use like right mouse button to bash attack, like it works better sometimes. And you can also like learn to collect the keys inside the pottery and like unlock the doors entering next area. So I also added some narrative design within the tooltips. It's like spread it inside different areas, and when players approach the tooltip, it will like bring up a widget. There are like some kind of the story background stories in it, and players can read them and try to find out what happened here. And there is a hidden secret room in the right area. So when players unlock the door and enter this area, they will find like there was something experiment log, and I hope it will like make players try to explore more and going deeper into the maze and trying to figure out what happened. So also like there are some prayers like just near the statues. And for the first level, there is also like a second half area. So now we're entering the second half area. So when you collect all the keys and go into the hall, and the players will like encounter the first enemy fight. There is a tooltip trigger and also contains some of the information. When players read it and like leave it, move away, that will trigger the statue enemy to move. And the player can choose to kill it or just collect the keys and unlock the door and enter the next level.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like not for yourself. It's awesome.
Okay, so for my level, just like a Greece, there will be a tooltip at the beginning. That'll say what the player must do in order to proceed to the next level, which is to defeat all the enemies and collect the key. Um, Again, like design-wise for the level, I wanted the player to feel as if like they're going deeper down to the level, so I added like stairs going down and like higher ground landscape outside, just to get the feeling as if like the place is buried underground. And yeah, I also wanted to introduce the whole feature of our game, just because there's going to be like multiple collectibles like in the upcoming level, and wanted like the player to familiarize with the controls as well. And yeah, so once you collect the key, you can move on to next level.
Oh, we gotta show off the fountain though.
Fountain again.
We really love fountain
Thank
place.
It's like the main attraction of the level, actually.
The fountain is great though, to be honest.
Welcome to the Minoan Spa.
Yeah.
Okay, so then here's my level, and I guess I'll just talk about the sound then. So, like how Diana sort of wanted to capture the sort of descending deeper into the labyrinth kind of vibe, I really tried to capture that in the music. So in the first level, you have sort of just ambient, sort of calm before the storm kind of tracks going on. And then in Diana's level, it's sort of more of like a heroic sort of beginning of the adventure kind of sound. And now in this level, now that you're getting deeper, it's starting to become like more of like an ominous kind of foreboding background sound. Yeah, and then you'll see in Levi's level, it's like a really sort of like chase sound, like really intense.
I remember the first time I opened it after you added the sounds. It was like, whoa!
What?
When the music was in my level for the first time, it was like, yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, so then the idea of this level is to collect all the keys and open all the different pathways. You saw in that first area, you sort of shot across the gap to collect the key from the other side. And then the second sort of area, you would move the movable pillars. And now in this third area, the sort of obstacle is like this hallway of enemies that you have to get through.
Yeah, and I really like the chat area, like on the right side. I think it kind of inspired the players to explore different uses of the weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pit area is like my favorite area of this level, I think, where you can like.
Yeah, it's really fun making that.
Yeah, it was cool. Like we had to like modify the code a little bit so that the arrow could be collected by the bow. Because if we go over here, there's like the gap, and before you could only collect it as the player, but we had to make it so that the bow could actually also interact with the key.
Yeah, so that was fun. What else was I gonna say?
Some of the sound effects that you were mixing together.
I had lots of fun mixing the sound effects together. Like the player walking sound is like a mix of like armor clinking, footsteps, and also cloth sounds. And the Minotaur was really fun because I mixed in like cow mooing with like the monster roar, so that was awesome. Also the player death sound is also like has like a really sort of cool. I gave it like a ton of echo and stuff. I gave everything lots of reverb just to make it sound like you're underground in this labyrinth. Yeah, so I think that's everything that I was gonna say.
Cool. We can move on to the final level. And we can show off the death sound.
Yes.
Really easily.
Yeah, so this is the level that I made. This was like my second iteration. The first one was so bad, and the second one, you know, was a bit better. I actually got a ton of inspiration from Rui. You made the blueprints like in the first place, and I was like, I'll just copy what you said already. And then I made it into kind of a main hallway right to the final exit. But the Minotaur is in the way, so then you kind of have to detour and explore around. And yeah, my level has a whole bunch of pullable objects in it, more than all the other ones. This is just so that you can play around with trapping the Minotaur, like between pillars or in boxes, because as you can see, he doesn't quite know what to do with it. But it's a feature. It's a feature when he gets stuck.
Long nights of coding.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about the screen shake?
Oh yeah.
Sean, you go at it.
So the Minotaur actually spawns like screen shake actors at his feet whenever he takes a step, and they are radially driven. So the closer and closer you get, the more the screen shakes. So you can see it's smaller here, and then progressively it gets more and more violent as it gets closer. So it's just, I thought it was a really nice quality of life. It gives a lot more terror to the level.
Oh yeah.
It's so scary.
Also the statues, getting them to shatter was an interesting challenge. So what we had to do is actually like make a separate static mesh instead of the skeletal mesh, and it just has a static mesh of the last frame of the pulling animation for the skeleton, or for the statue, and when the statue is shattered, it swaps in the static mesh, and that's what breaks, because you can't break skeletons in Unreal.
Yeah, so for more of the level design stuff, I initially wanted the player to kind of come down this room first, where they would find a key and a door to a skeleton right away, and the skeleton gives them poison. Poison is the only way to hurt the Minotaur, as you can see here, with a cool blood particle effect.
And then if you try and shoot him without it, nothing.
Yeah, then nothing will happen. I was in charge with a lot of the I was in charge of a lot of the particle effects in the game. The one that's most common here is the little blue kind of firefly things around the pullable objects, just to help the player understand what they can interact with and what they can't. Um, what else?
Do you want to talk about the character model?
Yeah, let's do it again.
So I made the main hero character. I made him from scratch pretty much. Levi made the helmet, but I made everything else. So basically, I made a rough blockout in Maya, then took that into ZBrush, then took it back into Maya for retopology, and then I textured everything in Substance Painter. I also learned how to use Chaos Cloth for the cape, and I think it looks really cool. You made the Minotaur.
Basically, it's pretty much the same process like as the hero character. Like, I took inspiration from a lot of like concept arts, like Minotaur concept arts, and like made it look like our own, and like make sure like have the same art style as the hero character. And yeah, the process was the same, like model it in ZBrush, move it into Maya for retopologizing, then Substance Painter for texture, and back again to Maya for rigging, all that stuff. And yeah, that's where
Actually, I wish like other people can see your like concept arts. Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
Do you need to like submit the concept art like as well?
I don't think we did anywhere. If we put it in the Milanote, like our collection of like reference, that would be one way to show it off.
Yeah, because like I remember like when Nico made different like hairstyles. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I had all. I have like the whole process.
Yeah, I
of
did.
making my guy.
I had mine there too. It's all in our journal.
Alright.
Sure.
Are we?
And then you made all of like the stone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that too.
Yeah, so like I just like made the walls like the pillars, so for a like consistent art style, and and that's everything I guess.
Yeah, well, he says that's everything, but it's literally everything you see in the game.
Yeah. All throughout the level. That's everything, though.
Yeah, just the floors and the walls and the pillars and the doors. That's all.
Use props as well.
Yeah.
And I think you can also like try to like just collect the keys without killing the statue enemies, and the statues like will gather a bunch of statues following you, and it is kind of scary.
Oh, yeah.
So it is worth to try. Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely possible to like do it, but it's hard. So that's like hard mode. You can't kill anything except for the Minotaur.
There you go.
Yeah.
Here's the back room that I added just for some more random storytelling. Inspired by all of Rui's experiment logs. There's one where something obviously transpired in that room, but we have no clue what. Yeah, I also made the skeleton meshes and the statue meshes with basically the same workflow. I also did Chaos Cloth for the skeleton capes, which was basically, a test run to see if it was possible to just have it in the game, and then Nikki just ran with it for the hero character.
And the charging particles on the arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I made those so early on, I hardly even remember putting them together.
I love the charging particles. Also, this like line effect is great. It gives like a real sense of power that you're about to fire.
Yeah, that's all made in a Niagara system with a bunch of emitters. So like one of them is just doing the beam coming out the front. One is doing like all of the sparks with a vortex force, which makes them spin around. It's pretty sick.
And I also just showcased one of our bugs, so that was intentional.
Did you shoot him through the wall?
I did.
Oh, well.
I was messing around with the bow, and I was just showing that we make mistakes too.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
And the final door, the axis.
Yeah. The animation on that.
Yeah. It took me a minute to get it in there, but it's in and it opens and it looks fancy.
Yeah,
Should-
the animation is pretty good. Yeah.
Should I show off the animation and leave the level?
I mean, I think so. We've only done this twice.
There we
Voila.
go.
There we go.
Okay.
And there's the wonderful people who made the game.
Yes. Worked
You're
by
recording this time.
team number 1, and Sean was recording this time. We're very proud of him for that.